on the shoulder on the left-hand side, picking up speed again, because you see all the other traffic on the southbound 101 is almost at a standstill. But he is managing to get in and out of traffic and slow down. Now, we see a cruiser coming up behind him. It looks like a CHP, California Highway Patrol cruiser, right behind him now, folks, because we're not looking at a wide shot, but I'm sure there's other cruisers behind him, too. And usually, what do we usually see? A canine cruiser or a canine unit involved in this chase, just in case the person bails out. And it looks like now in the passenger side, I wasn't sure, but it looks like somebody has on a red vest. So maybe two people, at least two people in that car. We can see through the sunroof of this Mercedes. He's now almost stopped in the third lane, in the middle lane. We see the police helicopter going by again. But again, we don't know exactly what led to this chase. If it was a traffic stop and he failed to comply with law enforcement, we don't know. But you see, there's a cruiser right behind him. Looks like at least occupied by two people in that car. We can't see anybody in that back seat, but it's an older model, larger Mercedes sedan. And the guy looks like he's out for a Sunday drive. He's got his arm hanging out the window. And he still has not come to a complete stop, even though we're still in morning rush hour traffic there in the San Fernando Valley area near Encino. As we said, he just crossed over a short time ago, the 405, still southbound on the 101, now picking up speed again. So also joining me is HLN host Mike Galanos. And Mike, we've done many of these. I'm going to let you take the helm.
Yeah, no pun intended. We've been down this road before. Let me ask you a question. So as I was getting myself set up here, I'm watching this, and here we go again. Stopped. Why not make a move now? Can you make a move if you're authorities?
It's tough, because when a car's at a complete stop, unless you have somebody in front of them to box them totally in, Mike, you're not going to be able to do any kind of pit maneuver, anything at all like that. If you run up to the guy at gunpoint, you don't know what kind of weapons they have in a car. Plus, you run up to him at gunpoint, what's he going to do? Take off again. So they got to get him in an open area if they're going to decide to do pit. But look how casual this driver looks.
Okay.
And that passenger looks like he has on possibly a stocking cap or a hoodie, as some kind of red vest.
And it looks like they're conversing, they're talking, who knows, game planning. I'm guessing one of our producers just alerted me they were pointing up at the helicopter. Yeah. So now they're gathering what they're up against here. So what's the game plan of authorities right now? Like, now we're speeding up again.
Right, now we're speeding up again. Just keep a little bit of distance between his car and their car, because if there's an accident, you as a law enforcement officer involved in this chase, you don't want to get involved in that accident either. But, Mike, it's sometimes the speeds have varied throughout this chase. As I said, up to 80, maybe 100 miles an hour sometimes, almost to a complete stop. So it's been back and forth, but you make a good point, because people ask me all the time, well, when they stop, why don't they run up? Well, it's because you don't know what they're going to do, and if they're not totally boxed in on three sides, that person can get out of that traffic, as we've seen before. But now, here again, at a complete stop. So, is this, and you don't see any other units up ahead with any kind of stop sticks to put down in front of them. But we do see the L.A. County Sheriff's helicopter flying around right underneath our affiliate KTLA's chopper.
They're staying close, and this is we haven't done one like this in the midst of rush hour in the Los Angeles area in a long time. No. What challenges does that, I guess that's just all the people on the road. You got innocent folks out there that you got to look out for.
Well, you do. And I know in the L.A. area, Mike, sometimes they'll go ahead and let folks, because in the drive time, it's 8:38 on the West Coast. They'll let people know what's going on, so hopefully they can avoid this. But a lot of times you get caught up, Mike, in one of these chases. But it was interesting. The guy in the next lane over, he was waving the police around, so he was moving to his right. So either he saw it or maybe he heard it on one of the local television stations.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. Want to let you know we're going to continue to monitor this. If it comes to an end in the break, we'll roll it back for you. You're not going to miss a moment of it. Mike and I are going to keep watching it for you. Again, monitoring a chase going on right now in Southern California. More coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. Following breaking news, my colleague, HLN law enforcement analyst Mike Brooks says we're following a car chase, Southern California. Mike, this is the thick of rush hour there. We're eastbound 101, heading toward Hollywood. Give me some info here.
Yeah, Mike, apparently they just passed Woodman, but this chase has gone from a standstill to sometimes 100 miles an hour. They've been southbound on the 101 for some time now. They crossed the 405 back a short distance ago. But as we see, this looks like an older model Mercedes sedan. Now, Mike, to me, it looks like it's occupied by at least two people. It looks like possibly a white male driver, a passenger with maybe a scarf or a hoodie pulled up over his or her head. We don't know. He's driving along, arm out the window. But right behind him, when they go to a wider shot from our affiliate KTLA, you can see that there's CHP, California Highway Patrol, right behind this car. We don't know what began this chase, but it's been going on now for about 20, 25 minutes.
And how important is that, to know the backstory here, the background? Because you got, we've had some, I think the last one we did, it was an armed robbery suspect. So now that's quite a factor that they could be armed here.
Exactly. And even if it's a traffic stop and the person failed to pull over, you always assume that they're armed and dangerous. You always have to, because why are you running from the police? That's my first question. And then the tag number. Run the tag number. What does that tag number come back to? Is the car wanted? Is it stolen? Is it wanted for another crime at another time? And then who's it registered to? And while this is going on, detectives are also attempting to find out who the person is behind that wheel.
All right, we're going to continue to monitor this. Taking a quick break. You're not going to miss anything. Mike and I will keep watching it for you. We're back with this breaking news. Car chase, Southern California. Stay with us. Welcome back to HLN. Continue our breaking news coverage. Mike Brooks, our HLN law enforcement analyst, with us as we're monitoring a car chase that's going on Southern California, courtesy of our affiliate KABC right now. Mike, this started, we believe, in Ventura County. We're heading toward Hollywood. We're heading eastbound on the 101. Could be heading to the Hollywood split here. Really, this is the thick of rush hour right now. So any new info for us?
It is. Now, Mike, we've seen this chase go from a standstill to sometimes at least 100 miles an hour in my guesstimation, and now starting to pick up a little speed, but now running into traffic because you figure, Mike, it's only 8:46 Pacific time out there on the West Coast, so you're still in the height of rush hour. And when the shot was a little bit wider, you had traffic on both sides of the 101. So, I mean, as you know, out there, especially on a Friday, and there it is, almost at a standstill again on the 101. You know there's traffic like this almost all the time on a Friday, especially early morning and late afternoon in the LA area.
So we've got, okay, there's the cruiser following behind, California Highway Patrol. It's good, safe distance there. What is the object? Take us inside that California Highway Patrol car as you're 2-3 car lengths behind here.
He's got the eye. He's listening to also, they go to a mutual aid frequency for everybody who's involved in this chase. They're talking to the helicopter above, the eye above. They lost that helicopter for a while because of cloud cover, but now it's back involved in the chase, the LA County and possibly CHP helicopter. But he's calling, he's got the ball. He's calling, he's got the eye. He's calling exactly what's going on. He knows if there's any units up ahead, if they're able to maybe put out, spike strips. We also have to be careful. We say and what we see, because we don't know if possibly they can't see exactly everything that's behind them because they might have it on satellite radio. So I'm always, and I know you are too, Mike, always very careful what we say, not to give away any secrets. But we're not here. We know, they know that that CHP is right behind them now. We saw them motioning a few minutes ago,
looking up,
pointing up, as to the helicopter.
Yeah, we're getting a bird's eye view in the car. We were a moment ago because the sunroof's open, the driver's side windows open. Looked like they may have been on the phone. Very animated conversation. Yeah. We've got a map here, Mike. Let's just give everybody some perspective here of where this began. Again, reportedly began in Ventura County, California, and then moving toward, again, eastbound Sherman Oaks, heading toward Hollywood, and that's where we are now, again, eastbound on the 101s. Again, we're at a standstill practically thanks to that traffic, Mike.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's come down south, now east, and I tell you, it's again, almost in standstill traffic. And people will get, well, why don't they go up and do something? Well, it's hard to pull a pit maneuver. That's where a cruiser will come up along either the right or left rear quarter panel and try to spin that person out. You can't do it at a standstill. And unless you got them blocked in and you get the car blocked in, you don't want to take any kind of action to get it out of your car. You always assume that they're armed and dangerous, Mike.
Okay, and again, this one's a little different from the ones we've done most recently. That we're slow and go here. We're in the midst of rush hour traffic. This is in Los Angeles area. We're practically at a standstill. We know California Highway Patrol is just a couple of car lengths behind. So could this come to an end? We'll keep monitoring it for you. We're going to take a quick break and have much more breaking news, a car chase in Southern California. Stay with us. Welcome back to HLN. Continuing with our breaking news. We're watching a car chase, Southern California. Our HLN law enforcement analyst Mike Brooks is with us. Mike, this is a later model Mercedes, and you were just talking about it in the break with me and just speculating on the cat and mouse that's going on, because this is the thick of rush hour, 8:52 out there on the West Coast. Do you want, if you're that driver in that car, do you want other cars around you kind of like cover, or do you want some open roadway where you can gun it and try and lose the police?
I want some open road where I can possibly get this person to pit maneuver. Mike, they're coming up on the Hollywood Bowl area, just for let our viewers know exactly where this is, eastbound 101 near the Hollywood Bowl. But we saw earlier a CHP cruiser. You see the one. We saw another cruiser from another jurisdiction, but just moments ago when you had a little bit of open area, we saw two cruisers almost side by side. Looked like they were planning to do something. One of the people in the helicopter said up above said they looked like one of them was taking her seatbelt off, which said to me maybe he thought there was going to be possibly a bailout. But you see the car circled. That's that older model Mercedes sedan, and I tell you, those things are built like tanks too, Mike. So they're very, very heavy. It's not like we're dealing with a Scion or some other cars we've seen in chases before. So to perform a pit maneuver on this one, you're going to have a little bit of speed and a little bit of room to operate.
Hey, Mike, what we're gathering here, producers letting us know, we're less than a mile now for some really heavy traffic, and we're going to be down to a crawl. I think we're just about there now. So how are you operating this if you're CHP here and you're trying to bring this to a safe end for everybody?
Just past Highland now, I tell you, Mike, you see the cars pulling off to the right.
That's a good thing. Get them off the road.
That's a great thing. And again, a lot of times on the radio stations out there in the drive time, they'll let people know if there's a chase coming your way, and hopefully people are able to get out of the way. But now, looks like they got a little bit of open road, at least from the shot we see here. Still some cars on the right. You know, as you said, no, Mike, it's been cat and mouse. It'll look like they have some area to operate, and then they'll pull in, and they're surrounded by cars again. Then it looks like they've had some area to operate and pull by cars again. But now we see one, two, at least three CHP cruisers, maybe even more behind there. And I guarantee you one thing. Just in case they think there's going to be a bailout, get a canine unit up there, because if they bail out, they're not going to outrun a German Shepherd or a Malinois, that's for sure.
What's ahead of what's going on here? Yes, traffic, we know that, but as far as operating procedure, planning, because now we're at that standstill here. Well, we're 15 seconds.
Look how close. Well, you can't lay out spikes.
That was really close.
You can't lay out spike strips because of all the traffic, but CHP, they're going to the right.
Okay, making that move. We'll keep monitoring. More coming. Oh, we're going to stay with it here.
We're going to stay with it
It could be coming.
The door came open.
Okay, we're back at it here.
Passenger door open, right passenger. You're giving directions. You want to tell them, let me see your hands. Put your hands up. Don't talk. They don't want to converse with you. And there's always a possibility, because you're on overpass, that they could get desperate and jump right over there. But you tell them to get down the ground, turn around. They're giving them directions.
It looks like a female passenger with a scarf and a hat on turned around. It looks like she may have, I guess, basically surrendered here. But the driver's still sitting there,
Driver just threw something out. It probably looked like the keys. They tell him to get out, because this is what we call a felony traffic stop. They're going to get that passenger out. You don't want them looking at you. Want them looking straight ahead, going to your commands. He's talking to them. Put your hands up, because you can't kill you with anything but the hands. Walk back. They'll probably tell him to get on his knees and cross his legs behind him. They'll walk back towards them. Where an area where they can control him. You see the officer down on his knees. Cross your legs behind you. There you go. Right behind you, and
it's like you're giving the commands.
And prone all the way out. They want that person all the way out, because you can't see what's in their waistband, because they have a vest, hands locked behind their hands. You've got one officer, you got one trooper on the person on the passenger side. You can't see between the Jersey barrier. Now the other officer's coming up there, one with a shotgun, and then you got one of the motormen back behind there. So it looks like they have everything well under control. When you got your hands locked behind you like that, they'll come up and put a cuff on them like they're doing right now, and take that person to custody. They'll go over, take the passenger to custody. Then, to make sure there's no other people inside that car, they'll come up, clear that Mercedes, and they'll go ahead and clear that trunk to make sure there's nothing or anyone inside that trunk.
And we can only speculate what was going on inside that vehicle, but it seemed like an animated conversation, and you're guessing it was like, what are we going to do? We're in the thick of rush hour. We got these CHP cars following behind. Finally, it looks like they just gave up, thankfully, pulled to the side of the road in the shoulder here, and it looks like this is obviously going to end without incident.
It does, and the reason it could be was what you were just mentioning, Mike. We're coming up on heavy traffic, and they had nowhere to go, so they decided to go ahead and give it up. But, when you give it up right there on an overpass, there's always that possibility. We've seen that before, Mike, of somebody jumping over the overpass and taking off on foot, but that passenger decided to...
This is Southern California, heat of rush hour, about 9 a.m., so thankfully this wraps up without incident, and there's the driver walking with officers as, again, this comes to an end. As we get any more information about this, we'll let you know as, again, what started this, what led to this dramatic police chase, again, in Southern California, but again, thankfully, it ends without incident.